Welcome to the Neurodivergent Experience podcast, a podcast where we share the lived experiences of neurodivergent people to help create a better understanding for our community.
Join us every week as we bring you honest, raw, and inspiring conversations with specialists, advocates, and individuals who know exactly what it's like to live the neurodivergent experience.
I'm Jordan James, a neurodivergent specialist, father of neurodivergent children, husband to a neurodivergent wife, and author of The Autistic Experience, and I'm joined by my best friend.
I'm Simon Scott. I'm an autistic ADHD broadcaster, actor, and advocate. Join us as we journey into unraveling the neurodivergent experience.
Hello, and welcome back to the Neurodivergent Experience. I'm Jordan, and I'm with Scotty. Scotty, this is not the hot topic.
No, it is not hot. Although it is in itself a hot topic.
It is a hot topic, but unfortunately, or fortunately, in my opinion, we were so set on making the previous episodes, yesterday's episode, which was about men's mental health, our experiences and the alluring, harming place that is the Manosphere. It was a long episode, and we still aren't done because this is a huge problem. So, what are we doing, Scotty?
If you're listening to this and wondering where's the hot topic, this is the hot topic. It's just going to be a little bit different simply because it's a part 2 of the episode that we put out yesterday. So if you're listening to this and you haven't listened to yesterday's episode, don't fret, we're not going anywhere. The beauty of podcasting, time is frozen. So please put a pause on this, go back and listen to part 1, and then please, if you would be so kind, rejoin us for this. So we're going to just put a little pause here. And welcome back to those that have only just listened to part 1. Hello for those that already have and are joining us for part 2. We simply couldn't finish the conversation. We normally have it sort of fleshed out in these blocks, but I think what we've talked about is so key, and this is what this podcast has always been about. This is our mantra of, we want it to be an open, safe space for neurodivergent people, but I've had many supporters and listeners of this show remind us that it's also a men's mental health show. So that's what we're focusing on for this episode.
Which, by the way, massively benefits women. Because if men are listening to this and men are influenced by the things that we say, being positive role models, that's how I view myself. And it's taken me a long time to even dare call myself a positive role model. And the last time I was called toxic, but whatever. If people are listening to people like us, or even women who are being welcoming, that will also benefit women. It will benefit society in general, because as much as we don't like it, and as much as we're hoping that it will change eventually, men are still the dominant sex on this planet. It should not be the case, and we're working on it. But like I said, yesterday's episode, we cannot make women equal by forgetting and pushing men aside. That is not the way it should happen, but there are people, and it seems to happen a lot, not all the time, but that is what's happening. We have got to the root of this problem, in my opinion. The root is that these young, influential, easily influenced men are being neglected, are being forgotten about, are not being looked after, are being gaslit a lot of the time. People talk about gaslighting. Yeah. Men can be gaslit too. I was gaslit by my own mother all the time. It was my problem. I was the problem. I was the problem. I was the problem. I'm like this because of you. And I'm like, well, none of what she said was true. She was an awful woman, and I was abused by her. But I didn't end up in the Manosphere. I dipped my toe into critical drinker, as I discussed on yesterday's episode. And my daughter made me see sense very quickly, and I thank her for that. She's an amazing human. I consider myself to be a strong person in the strength of the fact that, comparing to myself, like we were saying again yesterday, I compare the strength to myself, not to others. And I feel like I was very weak. I was pushed down. I was made to feel weak by my mother, by the bullies that bullied me, who were men and women. Everyone was bullying me. But I feel strong in myself. I feel strong because I can talk about things now. I feel strong because I'm dealing with things now, because I'm having therapy now, because I'm able to talk about my feelings. And my strength has nothing to do with physicality and everything to do with my mental strength. And I think that men are naturally weaker and they're being neglected. And it's a problem, but we spoke about that yesterday. So what this episode, this segment 3 is going to be about is what's next and how do we help? And we are a tadpole in a very large pond with our voices and our influence. And hopefully one day this podcast, and I encourage you to share this, by the way, and help us reach more people.
Yeah, please do.
Please help us reach more people, because the algorithm doesn't favor, this sort of content because it's positive, because it's helpful. The algorithm is nasty. So unless you're looking for this, which is not a lot of people, it seems, but we are growing. We're growing a lot. But we don't want to grow for us. We want to grow because we want to help more people. It's always been my case with my Facebook page, with this podcast, with my book. I don't care about being popular. I don't want to be popular. Let me be clear.
Neither do I.
I do not want to be popular. I
being
fucking
famous
hate the
is like my idea of a nightmare.
Gross. Like I wish I'd used a pseudonym for the book at this point. Like I have a very, very minute amount of what other people call fame within the neurodivergent community. And I don't see it like that. That is literally what I've been told. And that makes me uncomfortable. So again, I want this to reach more people because it will help more people, because my God, I want the world to be better. And it's so bad. And I really do believe it's because, and which is super ironic because this is social media and I've made a platform from social media, and social media has been great for me to use to help people. But again, there's not a lot of people like us, is there, Scotty?
No, there's not, no.
And it's damaged this planet. It's damaged the people. It's damaging. And so we're going to do our little bit to talk about how it might help. Have you got any suggestions, Scotty?
One of the biggest benefits of my journey, and I know journey is like a bit of a buzzword with us, our bingo sort of game, but human connection, man. Actually speaking to people, about myself, about life, whether that's being a counselor or somebody like Ashley, but most importantly, my support network, talking to my parents, talking to my partner, Karis, about how I feel.
So important.
How I express myself. Like, I really hurt my back the other day, and in frustration, I punched the cupboard door while I was on the floor because I was in so much pain. And afterwards, I said to Karis, please don't judge me for that. It was an in the moment thing. I couldn't help it. And that's true. I couldn't help how I felt in that moment. I just slammed my hand against it because I was like, oh my God, that hurts so much. And I says, I don't want you to feel afraid of that. It's just a reaction. I can't help it. But being able to express that in a way where I didn't feel like I was going to be judged, really, really helpful. Really helpful to sort of go, oh, silly, stupid, toxic boy banging his hand against a cupboard, have some maturity, grow up. No, I was a man who was in a lot of pain. It's really, really not helpful because it shows that you can't express your pain in a safe way because you can't help how you express it. You're in pain.
Yeah, you're not attacking anyone. You're actually attacking yourself.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And with that mindfulness, a sense of presence, I spent way too much time on Instagram comparing
I've
myself
talked
to
about
other
this with
people.
you.
I've spent way too much time on Instagram because I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't have a lot of community. So you make them online. Well, the algorithm makes them for you. And I didn't spend enough time outside. I didn't spend enough time away from my phone. And I actually look at the amount of time that I had spent on Instagram. I could have invested that in a skill or a hobby. And that gets me on to feeding your soul, feeding your personality. If you are afraid of collecting action figures because you feel like you're going to be viewed as a child, fuck them, get them. If that's how it makes you feel, if it makes you happy, like me playing golf, oh, you're an old man. Now everyone's caught me up and I'm playing golf and I'm levels ahead of a lot of people I play with. But that's not why I play. It's because I'm outside. It's because I'm breathing air. It's because I'm getting a lot of joy from trying to improve myself and better things of just trying to improve the game. And I love being a gentleman, Jordan. I love the etiquette of it and, you know, feeling like I'm carrying on a bit of a tradition. And all of these things like developing hobbies has helped me meet people and get out more. And honestly, this little tablet thing that I have in my hand right now, my phone, did not help me. The secret isn't on there. It's communicating with people. Doing this podcast, dude, has healed me so much. I'm so grateful for having the ability to have a space where, do you know, I genuinely, unless I look at the downloads, I don't even think about how many people are listening, you know. Like, I really appreciate you listening, and I love the fact that you take time out of your day to spend it with us and that you're interested in the neurodivergent community and, by an extent, men's mental health, and you appreciate our stories and our experiences and our perspective. It means the world to me. But it would mean the world to me if it was just one of you listening, let alone the thousands of people that are listening. And that's daunting sometimes, seeing the download numbers when we have really big episode days. And, you know, I think about that we're filling out thousands of people. It can be a bit daunting. But being able to talk about it and not feel judged and feel safe and admit things where I don't feel like I'm going to be ridiculed or run down or questioned has done more benefit for me than any antidepressant could. It's been so healing to be able to feel like I can talk to you as one of my best friends, as my brother, and be open. And at no point are you going to scrunch your face up and go, well, I don't agree with that, or I don't. You just listen. And having good listeners around you gives you the opportunity to be heard. And you won't realize how you feel until you say it out loud.
So what happens when you don't have those people? You know, maybe you're growing up in an abusive family like I was.
Yeah.
Maybe your parents are alcoholics, or maybe, you know, you got a single mum who's trying her best, you know, and you're a confused kid that's more influenced, young man who's more influenced by the other kids at school, and they're saying, oh, you know, there's this really great website, there's this really great guy, he's helping, he's got all these courses, and he wants to help, he's a good guy, and he's not. He's a terrible person. He's trying to make money by manipulating you, but they don't see it, and I don't blame them for not seeing it. It took me a while to see it with certain things I was watching. I was like, oh shit, I should not be watching that. And it wasn't red pill stuff. We talked about this. It's like, where do they go? Because for me, it's in the school. Like when it's
this is what I was going to say.
Because there's a stat. I don't know the exact numbers. They've gone out of my head at the moment. But there are way more female teachers than there are male now.
Yeah.
And wonderful for women's empowerment, wonderful for women's rights, wonderful. Terrible for male role models, male influences. And I don't know what the answer is. The answer isn't fire the women, bring in the men, because that's It's not
That's
the answer.
not the answer.
What might be the answer is encourage women that they don't just have to be teachers, that they can actually be scientists, they can be road workers, they can be astronauts, which they all are. You know, we have that, but there's not enough. There's not enough women in science. Like, that's what makes my daughter so sought after by companies and stuff, is because she's a woman. She's a rarity within science. And so she will be sought after, not just because she's a woman, it's because she got a 2-1 from Exeter in marine biology, which is an incredibly...
Oh, yeah.
That's a Russell Group university. But if she's being looked at, you know, part of that is because she's a woman, because, you know, that's what we need to build women up. But that's the thing, is that we should have more women in those industries. So giving those women who ended up being teachers more opportunities for other jobs, maybe even jobs that earn more money. So we can have a more balance, because it's like there's not enough women in security. There isn't. I barely know any women. I think in my entire building of security, the building that I run, out of 12 security officers, only 1 is female. That's not good.
Why do you think that is?
They don't apply for the jobs. It's not that we don't. It's not that our company doesn't give them the jobs. That's not the issue. I'm actually involved in like, you know, when we bring in new people, I'm involved. Like I don't interview people. They'll ask my opinions, and there is no female candidates for these jobs. They just don't apply for them. And Simon's, my son's girlfriend, she's just got a job working in an airport in security. And she's just surrounded by men. And she's really good at the job. Like, she deserved to get the job based on the fact that she's really good at the job. Merit,
of course, yeah.
But women have different abilities than men in a lot of ways. They are naturally more empathetic. They are naturally more approachable, or they're naturally calmer. It's a generalization based on evolution, but that's the natural thing. And, you know, so that's the problem, is that there's not enough equal amount, you know, there's not enough equal genders within jobs. So you do get this sort of, there's like mismatch. So it's like a scale.
Yeah.
That's the word. Yeah. It's a huge imbalance. But the reason why it's such a problem in schools, that imbalance, because that imbalance might not be that important for other things as far as what we're talking about. It's important for other reasons. But for helping these young men and for having better role models and better influences, if you're not getting that at home, the internet isn't the space for it, because there is way more, you know, anti-women stuff than I'd even care to fathom. It's teachers. So if they've got a really good, and I've seen this on documentaries and stuff, and I experienced it myself as well. Ironically, I actually experienced it with a female teacher who was a huge influence on me when I was a kid. But I've always been drawn to women, like, mentally. You know,
I'm the same, actually.
Yeah, which is probably why you and I get on so well as bros. Because
I've always really enjoyed the company of women, from elderly to people my own age. I've never really seen it about sex. It's just been about, I like people. Yeah.
But these young guys, they just don't. They don't have the role models, because it used to be the other way around. that there was more men, and then it kind of balanced out, and now it's gone the other way. And that's a problem, not for equality, but that's a problem of how do we fix this problem, is by creating more positive role models. So that's one thing. The other thing that I've found is this thing we talked about yesterday, with the fact that men don't mature as quickly as women mentally. Is there's a solution which has been suggested, which I actually think would be fantastic, and I can't see it not working. Is that boys actually start school a year later, and in some cases maybe 2.
Do you know what? I'm so glad you've said that. I'm so glad you've said that, because I am born in July. I am right at the end of the school year. A lot of the boys that I was competing with were a year older than me, nearly. There was a couple of lads in my year that were born in September. They had so much like maturity, and like they had development skills more. I felt like I was constantly playing catch up. And I also felt smaller and a bit meeker as well, you know, because there were some guys that were having growth spurts that I was waiting a year for. And I think you've hit a really good nail on the head there, simply because so much of the school system is one size fits all. It's really not tailored, and it's not accommodating, really. You know, it's like 40 kids in a classroom. There's not a great diversification of age groups, or sometimes even genders. You'll get certain schools where there'll be like, you know, 10 of one sex and bloody 40 of the other in a class. And I know that's the postcode war. That sometimes can't always be helped. But I think you nail that really well, because and you'll know this, having an older brother, there are so many kids at school that are influenced by their older siblings. And you'll even have teachers that will like go, oh, you're so-and-so's brother. And they instantly go, well, if you're anything like your brother, you're going to be a pain in the ass. And you're already given like a stereotype and a label and an expectation. And even when you were saying to me, how do we sort of fix this? Get them off screens and get them with each other. But then that's such a naive thing for me to say, because different kids have different parents, and, you know, there is different teacher styles. I remember, like, my parents always used to say I was like Marmite. They would go to school parents' evenings, and within 5 seconds, they could tell if the teacher liked me or not. Like, instant, they could be like, oh, we know exactly what we're going to get. And a lot of the time, female teachers used to like me a lot more than the men. And I used to feel really patronized by a lot of the male teachers. I had one specific science teacher who used to talk to me like something on the bottom of his shoe. Even though I got good grades, he just didn't take to me. That's fine.
Yeah, I had a maths teacher like that. It was an absolute arsehole.
I had exactly the same thing with a maths teacher as well. I had one particular maths teacher who kept sending me out of classrooms because other kids would pick on me, and I'd stand up for myself. And he was like, you're being problematic, get out. And that happened to me a lot. But then I had one particular English teacher called Mr. Hardacre, brilliant. And he just it's not that he got me, but he gave me the opportunity to thrive. Like, he purposefully moved me away from some problematic people in the classroom. And at the time I didn't get it. He moved me right to the front of his class. And it was because he wanted to engage with me. And he was a great influence on me. He was the sort of like Goodwill Hunting teacher where he'd be like, do you know what, Simon, I've got a book for you here that you should read at the end of class. Or he'd be like, oh, this is this person I think you really enjoy reading. And he fed my curiosity rather than punished me for it. And a brilliant, brilliant influence. I had a PE teacher who was exactly the same. Loads of PE teachers weren't bothered with me because I didn't have great cardio fitness, but I was also playing sports with lads that had a year of muscle development over me because I was born in July. And he got it. He always used to make sure that I played sport with the boys the year below. Something so simple, but I played great because I was on a more of a level playing field. But then I never got selected for the sports teams because I never played with my own year group. But he made the active decision of going, no, Simon's going to play with the other boys. and it evened it out for me. He gave me equity.
Exactly, and that's what this is. If you bring boys in a year later, and in some cases, especially when neurodivergence is concerned, to even 3, because I mean, like, so many times you hear it's a developmental disorder. It's not. It's a developmental difference, and it depends on the synaptic pruning, and you know, it's a freaking lottery. You know, some kids might never advance to adulthood who are neurodivergent. They might just get stuck because of the synaptic pruning.
Yeah.
But I think I think that, like, if you just make a general rule and, you know, and just say, okay, boys start later, that actually benefits pretty much everyone. But also, I think that then you should have, you know, nurseries that will accommodate that. You know, because obviously they go from nursery to primary school. You know, and I think that the system needs changing, and obviously all the research and the specialists that have been looking into this. This is a really good solution at the absolute beginning of a child's social journey, because school is for learning, school is for knowledge and advancement, but school is also where you really learn the social aspect of being around other people, because it's like, well, they might have friends and they might have play dates, or they might go to nursery school where it's a small amount, and then suddenly it's school and it's a lot more people. And it's like that's where this is where the big kids go. And the fact is that in those early years, as that both sexes are developing, women and girls are always going to be the big kid. They just develop faster. They just do. So this is a good start. This is a good start. But, you know, there's many things that we can do in order to help these men. But I think the number one thing that we as a society, and especially women, need to do this is not make men feel like they're the problem just because they're men. Like, that can't be, you're a problem because you're a man. Because as soon as you start hearing that, and especially coming from me, who I'm like, well, if I'm the problem, could you please tell me why exactly? And then all I get is, the only feedback I get is, because you're a man. And I'm not saying that that's the case. I'm not saying that that's what women are doing. I'm saying that's what these boys are hearing. That's the message they seem to be getting, is you're a problem because you're a man. And it might be, like we said yesterday, through TVs, through movies, through social media. But it's not like, that doesn't help. If somebody says, you're not a problem because you're a man, there is a problem because you're a man doing A, B, C, D, E. And it's the same with kids. That I remember watching a program very, very early on in my kids' lives, where I would always do this thing going, you're a naughty child. You're naughty. And I remember this thing that said, don't call your child naughty. Say what they did, and then explain why what they did is naughty, not that they're naughty.
Yeah, it's really good.
And it's like this thing of people calling people fat. You're a fat person. No, they're a person that has fat on their body. If you define an entire person by the fact that they have excess weight, you are taking away the humanity of that person based on the fact that they have excess weight. You're an excess weight person. No, you're a person.
Well, that's
who
weak
has
people pointing
weight.
out weaknesses. It's deflecting, isn't it?
Exactly. You can't define an entire human by one characteristic, and you can't define an entire sex by negative characteristics, because every human has negative characteristics. But if we don't work on those, and we're just told off for them, then how will we ever, and especially as neurodivergent people, how will we ever change? Because the worst thing that ever was happening to me as a neurodivergent man is that I was making social mistakes often, as we do. We're kind of known for it.
Yeah, it's kind of our thing.
It's a stereotype that genuinely exists. We are faux pas fucking machines, right? Because we never got the "this is how you should behave, everybody" memo. We're just doing our best. But when we fuck up, and I do fuck up, and I have many times,
and
when I fuck
again.
up, and I will, I definitely fuck up again. I'll probably fuck up right now. I don't know. Why? I literally don't know. That is the beauty of it. I have no idea.
That is the whole thing.
Have I fucked up? Tell me now. Everyone's just typing, yes. But if you just tell me I fucked up and then tell me I'm a piece of shit for fucking up, then how will I know how to not? I need to know what I did wrong. I need to know how I can improve. And I need you to do this very nicely and gently, because I'm very insecure. The end. Like that's how you should be with everybody.
Mm.
But like, men don't get, and this, I was going to say this yesterday, I'm going to say it today. Men don't get the gently treatment.
Yeah.
Now I will give you this example, and this is a big admit. Then was a quick one. So my daughter, I brought her up like a boy. Okay. So I didn't treat her differently because she was a girl. And I say I brought her up like a boy, as in like a stereotypical, I got her interested in things I was interested in. So she loved Barbie and princess dresses, and she loved all the girly stuff because Sylvia did. And I encouraged that. And whatever she wanted, I bought it. I was terrible. She gave me those eyes. But I wasn't interested in those things. In this very, very autistic way, I was like, well, I'm not interested, so I'm not going to do that thing. So I wouldn't watch these movies with her. And, I didn't participate in her tea parties. But what I did was I took her golfing, and I watched football with her. And I didn't treat her any differently because she was a girl. And she now, as an adult, she said that was a great thing in her life, because she doesn't feel like she can't do things because she's a girl.
Mm.
But I always protected her. And my whole thing was, I will protect my daughter. I will protect my baby girl. I literally, to this day, like I said, with her consent, she loves the nickname. I wouldn't dare call her anything else. She's my baby girl. But my son is my son. He's my son. And that, and it's like, I would take him golfing. I would do things with them together, but it was protect your sister. You need to be a man. You need to protect. You need to protect. And it's something that I actually sort of realized lately, and I actually did a post about it, last week, according to when this is coming out. It's when you're a man, or when you're a dad, my position, we are always taught protect.
Mm.
But dude, no one ever tells us to protect ourselves.
Who's going to protect him? Yeah.
Because I would teach him, physically you can protect yourself by doing, weights or martial arts or whatever, But I forgot he needed protection mentally.
Yeah.
I never said protect yourself mentally. So that's what I did. I realized that, and because my son always communicates better through messages. It's just his alexithymia. I just sent him a message and apologizing and saying, I feel like I let you down there, son. And I did a lot of really good things, and I'm a good person. And, I did a lot of bad things, but we've already talked about them. But I feel like I dropped the ball with this one. And I just want you to know that I love you, and I want you, which he already does. But I said, just make sure you protect yourself, especially when you become a dad, because I didn't protect myself. And I wish I had, because had I got the mental health support that I felt was so weak and pathetic at the time, because that's what I was being told. If I had got that help then, as good as a dad as I was, I would have been a way better dad, and I would be a much healthier human now.
No, I see what you mean. And even as you're talking about it, I'm sort of just thinking and reflecting myself. And yeah, that is something that absolutely would benefit not just your son, but you as well. And I think about sometimes like my relationship with my dad, there's things where he's tried to protect me from it and caused himself harm in the process, but then it's caused me harm in the long run, just by either him disassociating or sort of not really sharing what he's talking about. And I am such in my processing, very much a don't tell them, show them sort of person. And I find it very easy for people to sort of say what they mean, but I believe their actions more so than what they say. And I think you're very honest, man. And I think you're a good man. You're very brave. And when we were talking about yesterday, what is a man? For me, a man is somebody who's not afraid to accept their weaknesses, but even more so to talk about them, and to normalize them. I think one of the things that as your friend listening to you talking about how you've raised your kids, I'm not a parent, but I have them. And so much of what my parents got right is being honest with me and spending time with me and reflecting on what they got wrong. I think so much of what happens in life is like, I really struggle with regret. I ruminate on things, and I feel guilt and I feel regret, and I don't live in the moment. I disassociate. And one of the things that my parents have said to me is they said, we wish that we didn't worry about you so much, because you picked up on it. You realized that we were worried. So you were worried. You became anxious. And a lot of the time, even my mum still goes on about it. She says, I really regret that we moved your schools too many times, but I needed to move schools. And you can't sort of like live with regret, but it's also so important to admit mistakes because you learn from them. It's like, I see certain men that they make a mistake and they double down on it. You go, yeah, I made a mistake, but the only reason I made a mistake was, and then just start pointing fingers. And I think it's really important to protect yourself, to know that. But it's that sort of like vulnerability, isn't it? It's not protecting yourself so much that you become an animal in the corner that's snarling its teeth at everything that comes at you, because I have been that person. I've been overly protective of myself. But it is also really important to let people into your life and still have boundaries, because that's caused some mental health issues for me where I've not had strong enough boundaries with people.
Well, that's what I meant by protect yourself is if you need help mentally, seek it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so in conclusion to this and all the other episode, I would say that this is a government issue, but this is also an issue that all of us need to understand and can individually do something about. But when it comes to where do these men go? Where do these young men turn to? It's authorities, local authorities, government authorities need to provide better mental health care for everyone, which will include these young men. And these young men need to have somewhere to go, because where they're going is the internet, and this is causing the main issue, and it is failing an entire generation of men. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for sticking with us. So we really hope this reaches enough people. We really hope that it has helped you listening. And we're just glad to do our little bit in trying to improve things for everyone. Everyone, including men.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well said. And it's been a long one. I've not got many spoons left, my friend. I'll be honest, but it's such an important conversation, and I think this conversation would have really helped me all those years ago when I needed help. I really needed help. So I hope it has that effect. You know, if you're a woman listening to this and you think your partner would benefit from this, please share it with them. We want it to be a good thing, but we need to sort of have these conversations without judgment or fear of upsetting somebody or causing sort of like a personal attack or anything like that, because we need to flesh it out. We need to talk about it and figure it out.
I must say that if anybody listens to any of this and like has any negative feelings about I and Scotty and anything we've said, that right there, that's the problem. Because if we're attacked for what we're doing, then what the fuck are we meant to do?
Yeah.
The fact is, if we're genuinely trying, maybe you can help us try rather than condemning us for getting it wrong in your perspective. It's about coming together and working together and not being at each other's throats, which is unfortunately where the world seems to be. So, wow, yeah, I am fresh out of spoons. I am actually really hungry because I forgot to eat. And you also forgot to eat because we actually recorded both these episodes back to back, and it has been about 4 hours for us. So we are done.
Yes, I am cooked like a turkey on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So I need
put the effort in, and
good beverage.
Hopefully something good will happen.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I love you, dude. And
yeah, I love you too, man.
As always, the wonderful thing is that we will always talk. Anytime we've got a problem, we're always talking. And I'm so grateful to have you in my life.
Yeah, me too, dude. Couldn't have said it better myself.
We'll see you again next week, where mentally I will hopefully have recovered by then.
Yeah, we'll go and have a lie down somewhere, I think.
All right.
Right, until next week, folks. Thank you always for tuning in with us, being here with us on this. This was just an experience, not just a neurodivergent one. So, love you, bye. Nightly, bye. See you next week.
Nightly, bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Neurodivergent Experience. We hope today's episode sparked something for you, whether it's a new idea, a bit of validation, or just a moment of connection. Remember, new episodes are every week, so be sure to join us for the next one for more conversations and insights into the neurodivergent experience. If you've enjoyed this podcast, help us grow. You can do that by rating and reviewing this show. Your support makes a huge difference in helping us reach more people who could benefit from these conversations. You can connect with us on social media. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Just search for the Neurodivergent Experience. Thank you again for listening. And until next time, take care of yourself. You're not alone in this journey.